Hey everyone, welcome to Data Millennials. I'm Atul, and in this video we are going to discuss about the break statement with the while loop in Python. So in our previous video we have seen how we can use the break statement with for loop. In this video we are going to discuss about the break statement with the while loop. So the break statement with any loop is nothing but the abnormal loop termination in Python. So generally we have seen that the loops are executed until the condition is true. This condition is checked only at the top of the loop, and hence the loop is not exited if the condition becomes false in the middle of the execution. Generally, this situation does not happen because the loop is created to execute all the statements within the body. But in rare scenarios, if it happens, we need to exit the loop by changing the execution from its normal sequence. The break, pass, and continue statement in Python gives programmer a better flexibility for implementing the control logic in loops in these situations. In Python, when abnormal loop termination occurs, all the objects that were present or created in that scope are destroyed. And I should also mention here that ideally every loop should have a normal flow and have a single entry and exit point. It's always discouraged to use abnormal loop termination because it introduces an exception into the normal control flow of the loop. However, in some unavoidable situation, break, pass, and continue statement can be the only alternative. Being said so, let's talk about the break statement with the while loop. So the break statement terminates the loop statement and transfer the execution to the statement immediately following the while loop. When the break statement is encountered inside a loop, the loop is immediately terminated regardless of what iteration the loop may be on, and the program control resumes at the next statement following the loop. The break statement immediately exits a loop, skipping the rest of the loop body without even checking whether the condition is true or false, and the execution continues with the statement immediately after the body of that loop. With the break statement, we can stop the loop before it has looped through all the items. The break statement helps us to terminate the current loop and resume execution at the next statement just like any other traditional programming language. The most common use of break statement is when we have some external condition which needs to be triggered and require an immediate exit from the loop. If you're using nested loop, then in that case the break statement stops the execution of the innermost loop first and start executing the next line of the code after that block. So break statement is usually put inside the loop body most generally after the if condition, and it terminates the current loop, which means that it will terminate the loop in which it appeared and resume execution at the next statement. So let's assume an example of break statement with the while loop. So let's say that you are printing 1 till 10. Okay, for that what we can do is that we can have a loop counter variable, and we can initialize it to 0, and then we can simply put a while loop saying that while loop counter is less than equal to 10, then print loop counter, and then we are going to increment the loop counter value. So loop counter is equal to loop counter plus 1. So let's run this. So we have values printed from 0 till 10. Now what if we want to exit the loop when the value of loop counter is 5? In that case, what you will do? You will simply have to use the break statement after this print statement. So after this print statement, I'm going to put a conditional statement saying that if loop counter is equal to 5, then break the loop, else keep on going. Okay, so let's run it again, simply saying that let's press enter. So you have 0 1 2 3 4 5. So what's happened over here? So for each iteration the loop counter is getting incremented. So initially it was 0, so 0 is less than 10, so the loop counter got printed as 0. On the next line it checks whether the loop counter is equal to 5 or not. It's not. Then it goes to this line and the loop counter is getting incremented, and it keeps going till 5. So when the loop counter is 5, over here the 5 is getting printed. then we have this if condition. It checks that loop counter value is 5 is equal to this 5 value. Then the control comes to this break statement. The moment Python finds that you have given the break statement over here, it basically comes out of the loop, which is this while loop, and print or execute, not print but execute the next statement in the program. So as we do not have any other next statement in this program, so it basically ends the program. So this is how basically you can use the break statement with while loop in Python. Happy learning and see you in the next video.